Okay, let's have a quick look at Euro on top trades, and this is something I was talking about on the career course today, so I do apologise for guys if you're still watching from the career course, but it was quite an interesting one from Friday's trade, and something I was looking at in terms of, with the bigger picture or idea of a trade, could you then get in at a lower area, or what areas lower down gave you a chance of an earlier in on this move? And should you then, once in, take this trade and actually look for the bigger move rather than just the smaller trade that could have been taken to start with? So here's the context of it. Main areas that we're looking at is these 1389s, 1390s. Previous highs, lows, we've then tested up, but also 80s, sorry, not 80s, 1378. This blue line, no move above that manages to hold every time we get dropped back down. So this is your area really to start with that you'd be looking at to play this trade from. Move into the little circle between 80s and 90s to play the break of that accelerator high, which is 93, and target a move back through this quick drop, which takes you up towards 1427. So that's the premise of the trade. Now it's a case of how you actually get into the trade, how you access this trade. And this is what we're going to have a look at. This is what it looked like on a 5 minute. And so what we got is, before the break up, we had some opportunity to actually get into this a little bit earlier. We got a drop down, and I'll show you this from the beginning of, or from where this drop down starts, and then run it back up. Drop down into a previous range, which is essentially 56 to 50. This is also an older area that the market has pivoted around. People have then bought it above there, and ever since we got above, we had one try up, back in, another move up, we've then stayed above that area. So once again, 50s to 56s has got bought. Now, if you look at this on a 1 minute, you had an opportunity to buy it above 56, or at least from a chart, it looked like you did. You actually find out that this is quite a tricky one to take, the above 56. So I'll just bring this up and actually get it playing. So here we go. There's the first move down. So you get this pretty quick little drop down. Then we get around about 4 or 5 minutes of trading between 50s and 56s. So I'll speed this up for you in a moment. But from a chart, and this is where watching a ladder really helps you out. From a chart, this looks like 56, a really easy trade to try and get long on. In reality, this was actually quite a tough trade. And one that ended up getting, well, not getting you in trouble, but a trade that you could look back on and go, oh, I should have got long 56. Not easy. Once you get out of 56, it's the change in price action once that's happened that then gives you a clue to try and buy it through these highs, which come in at 70. And the buy through 70 is much, much clearer. Once through 70, you then up to this previous area that we had circled on the hourly chart, 80s to 89s. That's the point for the real break. So we've had a few different opportunities for how to get into this trade. But if you're aware of that hourly structure, you then had a setup to actually play the bigger break on this, either from 70s or once we got up towards 80s. So you can see we're still currently trading around the 54s, 55s area. I'll speed this up a little bit just so we can. So I've sped it up towards 400 speed. So what you can see here is you do get a sense of, well, it starts to look a lot quicker for one. You might see it, might make reading price action just a little bit easier in terms of where we're sort of moving between. I'll then slow it back down in a moment so we can see that break back up towards 56s. But at the moment, yeah, this is on 4 times speed and it's still not exactly flying around. So reasonably low in terms of energy. I'll bring it back down towards normal now. Oops, a little bit too far. There we go. So we're back now towards normal. So what we're looking for here is the break of 56. Do you get any clues to buy it? Maybe a marginal clue, you've got a bit of size there, but you've got to look at this and think, oh, I fancy a break, I'm going to buy it, and use that size as a stop. I think that's a little bit speculative. Get a quick jump through 56. His size comes in again, and that was around about your only chance to buy there. You have to be extremely quick, and as you see, we get left behind. You don't get any turn back towards 56 now, but look how much more energy is in this market. Very quick up now towards mid-60s, and then we progress further on towards 70s as well. So I just leave that order down there, and you can see we don't ever get back there. So we've shown a fair bit of initiative here. Now you can be thinking, right, we've got a bit more energy in this market. At the moment, I'm not looking at this thinking we're going to break 90s. At the minute, I'm looking at this as, if I can get on a trade, possibly I can try and hold it. There's scope to hold it anyway on a break of 70, at least up towards 80, and then you're running into that area. This then becomes a point of decision as to whether the move can keep going. But with the hourly context, the move is, you would feel, skewed in favour of continuing. So what you're looking at now is possibly a move through 70s, so try and find a way in on a break of 70. You're looking for that increased energy. Straight up there, so 70s trades, 71 trades. This way you're looking for a break. You see everything that drops down, straight back in. Yeah, the bid just keeps whipping back, whipping back. We trade down, and what you really want to see when you're looking for a level break is the market gets stuck at the level. Energy drops as soon as it trades back down towards 68s. Nothing really sells with that. Slow on the drop. No sort of continued selling, no rush to sell there. Nowhere near the buying as the market goes higher. As it goes higher, buying's quick. People will come in on that. So 68s can now almost be your area for a stop. Now we're trading above 70s. Do we get any sell back through 70s? And at the minute, again, when it trades back to 70, nothing buys there. Nothing sells when it trades back to 70s, really. See, no one's trying to click into 69.5. 70s find it reasonably easy to get bid, and then even you see some offers pull there. Again, no offers drop into the box. No one comes and sells the next price. It's very quick. It's easy to buy it, but no offers then come into the box. Now we're through 71s, 71.5s trading. Do we get any trade back to 70s? And no, if you're trying to buy 70s, you're struggling for a fill now. And once again, the pace picks up. So this is all starting to ring together that we've got a bit of a bid in this market. And if you've managed to get in at 70s, using the info you got on the way we moved through 56s, and the fact that once at 70s, we could never drop below 68s, you can now be looking at this thinking, right, there is a bigger move on. There goes the first bit of the move. That's taking you up to 80s. So we're now up around the 80s area. Do we get any pullback from 80s? We're not seeing it. Each of these quick moves up seems to stabilise, and there we go, another very quick move up towards 90s. Now the speed of this has just gone 45 ticks in about 10 minutes. You could be valid in taking a little bit of risk off here, but this is now where you've got to look at that bigger picture trade and say to yourself, right, this is one that is worth trying to then buy the pullback. You know where the pullback should be, towards 80s. And as long as you're staying above 80, you can take a reasonably tight risk and then play for the next leg of the move. You see that energy is still up. You know, auction activity is pretty high, and even there, it wasn't even giving you too much of an in below 85s. We then spend 5 or 6 minutes creating a 1 minute flag. So you get this sort of flagging pattern just above the 80s, and then continuation. Excuse me for the sneeze. So this could be an area where you then, on that little flick back, trying to buy some more. We saw a very quick flick, and that flick back dropped down to around about 78.5. So you can now be looking to keep your stops below there. So sort of 76s. If you've been buying this from 70s, scaled a bit at 90s, bought back at 80s, a stop down at 76 quid seems quite reasonable. You've taken a bit out of it, and you're now trying to accumulate a position to play for the bigger move. The bigger move being the move through 93s and all the way up to 27. Now what I'm focused on here is the point of the trade is not to watch this go. Yeah, that takes around about 25 minutes. The main point of the trade here is how do you access this? How do you use the info that you've got on the move up to get yourself in? And it's just here is that quick drop back holds. Now we're looking for an opportunity to try and get ourselves in, stay in the move, and then let the market go. Once through 93s, that's where you can say, right, I've done the work now. This is so important that people are very quick to, once it gets through 93s, go, oh, thank God, it's gone through 93s, better get out. This is the phase of the trade where you're doing the hard work, and that's why I'm focusing on this bit. This is the bit that gets you into a position, that builds your position. Once it breaks 93, you let it go, let the move run, and let the market continue higher. So this is the flag building now. What I'll do is I'll speed this up a little bit because we get quite a bit of two-way activity on this. But what you're aiming to do is you're aiming to stay long. As long as we're above 80 and we're in this little zone here, you're waiting for those highs to break. And like I say, you're then just going to let this go. Once you're through 93s, you can shift your stop up. So you can protect yourself. You know, if you've managed to get yourself an average price down towards 75, you never get in any trouble once we've sort of had that fast move up. Once through 93s, that's where you could then shift your stop just behind these old highs which come in at 89s, and then let the bigger move go. So we'll just play this through until we just get the little break of 93s. Once we're through 93s, like I say, that's the bit that says to you, right, now you stay with it and let it go. So we'll just wait until we can get through there. Just see that last little bit of activity as it goes. And that little moment that should sort of trigger that, not a victory dance, but a moment where you say to yourself, yes, you've done the hard work, now's time to get paid for it. And you get paid by staying patient. You get paid by realising that the bigger move is on now and you've done the work to get it. The people who are rushing in to buy it through 93s, those breakout traders, they're the people who have got a little bit to worry about because they're getting in right at the point where it could go wrong. And so they could still end up getting stopped out. From the point of view of someone who's built the position up to here, once you break through 93s, even if it comes back, it's still not going to go wrong for you. There we go, trades 93s now. This little dip back was back onto the 1 minute flag, and then you get more buying from the flag. So this is where the flag buyers are going to come in. And then you get the breakout buyers who are now going to try and buy it through 93s. There we go, through the 93s. 95s trades, we leave a little bit of low volume. One last little dip in, but the dip in as well trades through the low volume and back out above the low volume without changing it. So that little flick down didn't really create a great deal of selling. And now you can see you're not even able to get filled 94s, and then the move progresses on. And this is the moment where if you're in, you can say, right, my stop's 87 now. I'm safe on the trade. Now I'm going to let this go. And that's the Euro trade from Friday. One that could well have been planned beforehand and could then, based on the way the market trades up, been executed before you even get to the level, allowing you to then hold the trade. And the real key thing to remember on this is once you've got a trade planned, it's then how do you find a way into that trade? And that was a great example of quite a few things stacking up together to give you multiple entries and actually get you in perhaps a lot earlier than you might ordinarily have tried to on that trade.